his computer.
Recording in progress.
And unmute. All right, good evening. It's now 7 o'clock. I'll come to order and let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Amanda, do you want to take roll call, please?
Councilmember Rounds.
Here.
Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Here.
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Frymark.
Here.
Councilmember Smith and Houston are absent this evening.
Yep, they have an excused absence tonight. All right. With that, I have a presentation from Woodland Planners Day and our princesses and Miss Woodland from last year, 2023. So come on up.
Hello, I am Miss Woodland 2023, daughter of Maria Angeles Delgado Almazan. In school, I am involved in DECA, which we made it to nationals for the first time. So that's really, really exciting. When I graduate, I am attending Centralia College to get my 2 prerequisites, and then I'll attend Eastern Washington to become a dental hygienist.
Hi, I'm Princess Savannah, daughter of Melissa and Scott Dowdy. In school, I am involved with volleyball, W Club, National Honor Society, and FCA, as well as ASB. I also attend Cascadia Technical Academy, and I'm working to get my medical assistance certification. And I'm also involved in ASB there as well. After school, I plan to attend Washington State University in Pullman, and then go to a medical school for family medicine.
Hi, I'm Princess Nora, daughter of Brian Taylor and Tanya Taylor. In school, I am involved in wrestling, and I also help out with the youth wrestling program. I currently go to Clark College, where I am getting my associates in biology. And after school, I would like to go to the University of Washington, then medical school to become a neurologist.
Hi, I'm Princess Alexis, daughter of Michelle and Judah Schottefer. In school, I am involved in National Honor Society, W Club, FCA, and softball. When I graduate, I want to go to Oregon State University to study veterinary science.
Did we get a picture in front of?
Would you too?
With you.
Would you? And it's 100 tickets for the picture.
Well, thank you. So I just, before you all leave, I'm going to ask and do the push. Everyone buy their tickets tonight? Opportunities? Okay, thank you very much for coming. Good luck, you all. And go Huskies. My daughter graduated from there, and it's where my tuition money goes. So, all right. With that, we will jump into citizen communications for items not on the agenda. I have 3 people on the list, and then we will open it up to others. So, John, come on up, sir.
Hi, my name is John Kenwisher, and I already heard, I think the answer to my first question is about the project on Lewis River Road, whether it's going to be apartments or houses, and I heard you talking up here because I was sitting out here, so that's the one thing, and I know you're going to talk about it. Also, I drive by Old Pacific Highway down here by Green Mountain Road all the time. That big empty area out there where they keep working on, I know it's probably commercial, where they're grinding up concrete, moving dirt. You know where I'm talking about?
Out on Lewis
Yeah.
Road.
Yeah.
Out by the new.
Green
yeah.
Green
Up
Park
yeah.
towards the bottom
Right.
is the park.
So I was thinking about would that be an option to get it rezoned and be something for the manufactured home park?
So I don't know that there's enough acreage there.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So, so let me go through a couple things here
Okay,
with you.
you want me to go sit down?
Oh, you can
Okay.
stand there all
Okay.
day, sir. I'm more than welcome. So let's talk
Okay.
about Woodland East first.
Okay, okay.
So I met with Meg, and
Okay.
so Meg, I hope you don't think I'm breaking confidential. I don't think there was anything confidential. It was the conversation, originally it was 15 acres, then it was more like 10 acres.
Okay.
Maybe when you get down to how many people would actually move, you don't really know all that.
Right.
And so I don't know that there's 10 acres there.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know how far back it goes because there's looks like
Right.
several parcels of land there together.
Yeah, and multiple owners, I believe.
Oh, that's
there.
what I was wondering, too.
But yeah, so.
Some of this out of.
And then on the other piece that you asked about Lewis River Road, Gun Club,
Right.
Insel, that
Right.
piece there. So, again, they have a dirt and grading permitting right now to go. They authorized, approved, they were looking to do the 252 apartments. There is an easement there with Williams Pipeline. Williams has said that they will not allow them to build permanent structures on top of their pipeline. So, again, would it be 252? No, I'm going to be candid with you all. It wouldn't be 252 apartments. So then their models and their pricing and their, revenue stream adjusts a little bit.
Right.
So now they've come back and they've talked about doing 85 homes,
Right.
single family.
Right.
They do not have any permits. They do not have any of that to break ground on homes, subdivision, all of that. They haven't come back to us. This is just preliminary conversations with us. But right now, if I was a gambling man, I would say it's going to be homes because obviously it pencils out. However, I will go a little bit further with you. So as you look out off of Lewis River Road and I look to the south, and you have the gas pipeline on the east side there.
Right.
On the other side of that, they don't know what they're going to do with that because, again, you can't put permanent structure over the pipeline. So when we talk about permanent, they don't want roads, asphalt type of a deal. So again, lots of discussion to have going on there, but again, they are permitted to move the dirt and the pieces of ground. And what they're doing is they're pulling up the dirt from closer down towards the river
Right.
and pulling forward. And it's also important to remember that the city of Woodland does own approximately 10 acres there. So as you look down towards the river, that piece of property there with the trees on it still, that is the city of Woodlands.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any comments or questions on that? All right. Maggie?
Hi, I'm Maggie Smith. I was just wondering, has any of you looked at the Civic Center and gone inside? Okay, how's that? Okay, I was just wondering if any of the council members have been into the the Civic Center and checked it out. Any of you?
I have not yet. Not yet.
We didn't think we can go there during the construction.
Oh, well, we went this weekend, and they weren't working.
Well,
So I am not happy with the plan. There are showers in there. Who's going to use the showers? Is it for seniors? People that are just there for playing cards, or for the homeless, or for who? And they're enormous showers. I mean, it takes half of the building. So anyway, I'm not pleased with it. I'm sorry that that did get voted in, and moving forward, I guess we're stuck with it. So, I don't know.
wasn't the shower for what it was going to be used for the bicyclists and all that stuff?
Correct.
I think he talked to COG.
Yeah, it was for the trails for people to have showers, bathrooms on the outside. There's a drinking fountain for dogs and the public to use. Little pieces of grass. 100%, totally agree. Again, obviously, this segues into this weekend's I wanted to call it open house, but it's a retreat. The retreat with the council members and I, public, are happy to come listen and participate, be active participants in, is to what do we want to do with that facility. I see my friends from the chamber there. I addressed and talked with the chamber last Tuesday, in front of about 75 to 100 people. We had the conversation with the chamber. I would like to see the chamber coming there. Again, it comes back to cost-wise. They're at $1, and I'm at $10,000 a month. Okay, so we're at a negotiation kind of a piece there. I just think it makes sense to have the chamber in there, but again, I don't know that the city is in an appetite to do it for $1 a month. Okay. I will address the rest of the Civic Center. So there, just to get it out there, so there was a stipulation in the contract, if it wasn't done by 90 days, they would be paying us penalties. Koff Construction, it was part of the 2-page contract that was signed back in October, November. When does that 90 days start? Is it a point of conversation? Is it with permits? Is it when they broke ground? Da 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 da. I'm going to say right now, we will not go after damages and fees from Koff on there. Some of the delay has been sitting right here with Todd Neinhardt. I have been working diligently with them to make this much more usable for the city of Woodland, like putting in a dishwasher and sink so that if we have citizens who want to rent it out, like our community center. Those are things that we've changed. If you drive by there now, you can see the board and batten that's being put on there rather than just regular, siding. Again, the cost wasn't more, but it just gave it a different aesthetic look when you have the library. So I've been working diligently with them, and yes, it has put delays of time on there, but it's not like somebody's going to jump in there tomorrow and use it. So I just don't want people coming and saying, oh, well, it's 90 days, shouldn't we be getting penalties? They're working very diligently with me. Okay? Any other questions on the Civic Center? Okay. Keith?
My name's Keith Belisle. I represent tonight Woodland Planners Days Celebration Committee. I want to say I'm very proud of my team. We have endured to keep this the longest continuous celebration in the state. And so I'm very proud of my team and very honored to help lead that team. Tomorrow we'll have our Planners Days meeting at the VFW at 6 p.m. and invite everybody to come along and see what goes on. We have people from the car club that come. Hopefully our princesses will be there, and we'll be working out some more details. The the registration form for the parade is available online and at City Hall and at the Visitor Center, as well as at Bank. So you can register for the parade now. We're about to announce our art winner for this year, and I'll award that to them at their school, and probably make arrangements to bring them here to City Council if we can. And also still seeking prizes and sponsors for Planters Days for the whole program. It takes quite a bit to put it on. It takes more and more every year, so we need to keep asking for donations. We are a nonprofit, and those donations are tax exempt. Yeah. Any questions? It's going to be here quick. Okay, thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Keith. With that, I don't have anyone else on the list. Is there anyone in the audience that didn't get on the list that would like to talk about non-agenda items, or is there anyone online as I look through the chat, or anyone that has their hand up? All right. The next item is citizen communications for items on the agenda. I don't have anyone on the piece of paper for that. Is there anybody online or in the audience here that would like to speak up for something that's on the agenda? All right, with that, we will move to agenda approval.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second?
Amanda?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next item is reports of standing committees. Melissa, HR?
Yes, tonight we met at 6 p.m. Councilmember Hall, myself, and Mayor Deinhardt were in attendance. We met at 6 p.m. and we discussed the Deputy Clerk-Treasurer position that is open. And tomorrow we will have 2 interviews that were internal candidates. There will be 3 council members and the mayor. And that will probably lead to a trickle down once that is filled to have another internal or another position that will become vacant. On Friday, there is a second round for the Public Works Director position, and those interviews will be for external candidates. They already had interviews with city employees last week, and this will be with council and mayor on Friday. And within the police department, we have a lieutenant position that is still vacant, and chief and the guild will be working through what the roles and responsibilities will look like for that position as they are beginning to try to fill that position. The sergeant position is still vacant, and they will be testing on the 11th and 12th of April, and hopefully from that the sergeant position will be filled, and that will lead to potentially another vacancy in the police department. And then we have the officer position that we added this year that is vacant, which will also lead to that school resource officer position that we will have for this upcoming school year, hopefully. And hopefully by the end of June, we will have a full police department. The other and last thing that we talked about was our code enforcement position is a part-time position, and that has become vacant. And right now we are looking at fully utilizing all of our positions that we currently have instead of potentially making it a position that we open back up for a half part-time position. And so we are looking at maybe combining that with other positions within the city before opening that to outside position. And our next meeting will be on April 15th, and that will be at 6 p.m. And our new Deputy Clerk Treasurer will be conducting that meeting, and the mayor will be bringing the new Deputy Clerk Treasurer to the next council meeting to discuss and show the council who he has selected.
Perfect. Any questions for Melissa? Okay. Finance did not meet tonight. Gina is not here. I'll get some reports and show them here in a second. So, reports of City Council. Nothing?
Hold on.
Still alive.
I know. I attended my first Rotary meeting last week, and that was really neat to see a different side of our town. I'm trying to get around to different things. I've been to Chamber, and I've been to an after hours, and so it was neat to see Rotary. So that was kind of cool. I like giving back to the community, so getting to kind of see what they do. I look forward to being part of maybe some upcoming meetings with them. Spring sports has started, and so that's exciting to see. My son's playing soccer, so I haven't ever been to that side in Woodland to see the soccer side of our school, so that's kind of exciting to see that from a parent side. So that's my
Perfect. Okay, with that, we will go into advisory committees. Carrie, from the chamber, come on up.
Hello. I'm Carrie Swire, the Executive Director for the Chamber.
$10,000 a month, is that what you're here for?
Yes.
15.
We'll work on that. Can you hear me? Okay. The Visitor Center, it's starting to feel like summer. It's a false summer, I know, but this weekend was great. We had a lot of visitors come through. Even though a lot of the typical tourist places are still closed or not open yet, it was just people wanting to get out of their houses. I think it was great. So a lot of people from different states traveling for different reasons. So that was fun to finally have guests in our trailer. We have to limit the number of people in there, I think. It's a little. Thank you. The Visitor Center is currently closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but on April 1st, we're going to be open on Wednesdays, so that's great. What? No, that's true. It'll be spring break, and like I said, a lot of the places are opening up, so we want to be there for our tourists. Holland America Gardens are open for flower purchases. I don't think the tulips are quite blooming yet, but you can go there. Laluska opens in April, Thursdays from 1 to 5, and Hulda Klager opens April 20th from 10 to 4 daily. The Ape Caves are closed, but they expect to open on May 18th, which is a pretty special day around here. Lava Canyon is closed. Johnson Observatory is still closed, but the Science Learning Center is still taking the brunt of the tourists and doing a great job at it. So anyway, the Visitor Center is starting to wake up, so that's great. The Chamber of Commerce is growing. We've already got 8 new members just this year. Meetings are every Tuesday at noon at the Oak Tree, and we just want to invite everyone to join us. They're fun. Tomorrow we have a guest speaker from Nationwide Solar. And next week, one of our newest members, Michael Hanna, he owns cloudautomate.ai. He did a webinar, I believe in February, and just got fabulous comments and feedback on that. So that will be a very interesting presentation next Tuesday. Our membership directory is available. I passed some out tonight, but if anyone would like one for themselves, just give me a call or stop by the trailer. You can also come by Chamber and pick one up. So I'm not going to use that again. I'll stop.
I am going to put a plug out there for joining the Chamber. Anyone can join the Chamber.
Yes.
Citizens, the community. It is a great way, similar to Rotary, it's a great way for us to connect, meet each other, figure out what is best and how to move the businesses together in Woodland. So I recommend it. It's not expensive to join. Anyone can join.
Even the Dineharts. Thank you.
That wasn't.
Welcome.
I
Welcome.
specifically joined after the brochure was out, so my name wouldn't be in there, but yes.
Yes.
So.
The 2024 legislative session is over. It was short this year. We want to thank Senator Braun, Representatives Orcutt and Urbano for taking time out of their busy schedules. They were really busy. And every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, they were there with us, giving us great information, taking our questions, and just letting us know they're here for us. And I really recommend people go to each individual website for those gentlemen and take a look at what's happening in Olympia, which eventually trickles down to us. A lot of important things. And Representative Abarno said that making history, 3 of those initiatives that we signed, maybe last Planners Day that went around, 3 went directly into law. That is, I don't believe that's happened before. So we have a voice, and it does make a difference when we sign those things. So that was great to hear. Mark your calendars, because on May 28th at our regular chamber meeting, all 3 of those legislators will be there to give us the legislative wrap-up, and that's always a great meeting to attend. April 18th, our after hours will be hosted by Fort Vancouver Regional Library at the old library. It's time to say goodbye to that place as far as the library is concerned. That'll start at 5 o'clock on Thursday, the 18th of April. And like I said, and like our mayor said, there's never been a better time to join the chamber. We're growing, we're networked, we're excited about what we do in a year ahead. So I just invite everyone to come. And in April, on the 9th, our Planters Day Princesses will be at our meeting. So we've got a full calendar already. Anyway, any questions for me?
Council?
No?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reports to city officers. Let me jump into Mayor's message here. So, a couple things that I like to go through. Last Monday, so a week ago, we had the Exit 21 kickoff meeting with Kittleson and various other parties. WashDOT was there, CW COG was there, Cowlitz County was there. It was attended by roughly 25 or 30 of us. I thought it was a great attendance, a lot of conversation around next steps, what we're going to do, how we're going to move through this. Just a couple key dates for people, and just kind of a cul-de-sac here. We are in the process of setting up a project site on our City of Woodland website where you can click into project and we'll be able to get highlights and things of the Exit 21 project. But here are some key dates. Between January 2024, so now in April, they'll be out doing some surveying, doing open houses, property owner interviews, and public involvement materials. And then February through September of this year, they'll do concept refinement and documentation. So hopefully by end of September, we will have an idea of, right now there's 2 alternatives. We'll have it more refined, and by the end of September, we'll know. And then they'll do environmental reviews through 2025 and stormwater and geotech, and then additional design work that'll take us all the way through September of 2026. But I just want people to be aware, you know, of what's happening here now through April with the survey and then concept. Any questions on Exit 21 of where we're at? And again, Kittleson will be coming quarterly to meet with us. Okay. Melissa talked about the public works position, the deputy clerk position, along the lines of meetings. I met with the Port of Woodland director and the new superintendent of Woodland Public Schools. She will start in July. I think it's a good idea for the city, the port, the school district to all kind of be aligned and make sure that we're going in the right direction, being that it is the large public entities of Woodland. We all have different interests in things, but somehow we need to make sure that we're going towards the same North Star together. Coming out of that meeting, we're going to meet monthly, the 3 of us, but coming out of that meeting, it was suggested, and I totally supported it, we will be having a City of Woodland, a school board, and a Port of Woodland meeting. All the city council will be invited, all of the port commissioners will be invited, and all of the school board members will be invited. Obviously, we'll have it here at this building here. Public would be invited, but I just think it would be a great way for all of the elected officials and all of us interested parties to really come together and start having that relationship and moving us together. So, any questions on that piece? This Saturday is the council retreat, like I said, an agenda, different items that'll be out on the internet site. If you have time, please come. It should be over by noon, so it'll be 9 to noon. And then the last thing here is I want to talk about some financial reports. So I believe Amanda is going to share some things online here so people can see it. One of the things I want to talk about, and I'm going to go over my 5 minutes, but that's okay. One of the things when we ran, I wanted to make sure that we understood the community, where our money was going. And when I say our money, it's all of our money. And I talked about running this place like a business. So over the last couple months, as I've been digging through and I looked at financial reports, and I know last council meeting, I really appreciate council approving a new software system that'll hopefully give us transparency and things. I started digging in and I thought, what would make our reports easier for us to see? This is not a report that comes right out of the system. I've created an Excel spreadsheet. Gina gives me the data, and I've created some formulas, and away we go to create some information. So what this first one here is, and these will be posted on the meeting minutes here with this, and then every month going forward, I plan on bringing this here, having dialogue and conversation around what is happening in the city of Woodland with your funds. So up at the top is the general funds, and these are when we talk about reserves, we talk about the general, you can see advanced travel, Park Street, but those are really what is the reserves. And then underneath that you have restricted funds, where those are things where we get money in and we are going to literally pay them out. So like the dock recording fee, we give that money dollar for dollar to the Woodland Action Center. That is a decision that council has done, and every year we'd give it. Okay, hotel, motel, dollars come in, and then council decide, or hotel, motel, lodging, LTAC decides where they want to give those dollars to. And again, sometimes it goes to the Civic Center, sometimes it goes to the chamber, different, but again, it's not our money to spend. And then you go down, debt service, so we have a public, our police fire station, we have the fire station, we have the public works office over at the old Spruce building, and those things. So those are funds that we use to service our debt. Then underneath that is all of our capital projects, and you can see new funds are set up as new projects are set up. So we have some older projects on there, because obviously you got to wait till the project is fully complete and you move the dollars out and settle the dollars. And then you have impact fees. We have fire, park, and transportation. And then we have water fund. So again, we sell water, and that goes directly for water use. We have sewer, that goes for our sewer use. Even though we have additional infrastructure and things, those are dollars that get used for it. And same with stormwater. And then at the bottom, we have utility deposits when people pay deposits, and we have custodial funds and payroll clearing. At the end of the day, what it shows you is what is our total fund balance that we here in the city of Woodland have. And you can see we have 14 million we had in 2022. In December of 2023, it went to 15.6. And now every month, January, February, March, we will start showing this out. And you can see we had 15.5 in January, 15.8 in February. And then that last column, positive number, says we've gone up or down versus 12/31/2023 of our fund balance, and all those explanations. Again, I don't expect everyone to fully understand that. If you have questions, reach out, but I think this is something where people need to be aware, what money do we have here? Next slide. Then we talk about our expenditures. Let's look at our money. Where are we spending our money every month? So our budget here is decided, it's voted on by council around October, November. It's a 12-month budget. So when we say we're gonna have $10 million in general expenditures, you can see down there, 10 million, I realize it's small. It's not done by month, but so how would we know monthly if we're on budget, over budget? So all I did for right now is I just divided our full annual budget by 12 and called it done. But I realized, I'm a smart man, there are certain things that are paid annually. Insurance, one time, boom. So I have to do some tweaking there to fully get it, but 75-degree weather outside, I wasn't trying to spend more time than I needed to here. So what you can see here is on the far left-hand side, I tried to group it very similar with what our fund balances are. So you can see general expenditures, and you go down and you have Park Street capital, and so it aligns up very closely. And you can see current expense. There's $593,000 we spent in general expenditures, and I broke it down so you have legislative, municipal, executive. So for example, executive, that's the mayor and what used to be our city administrator. And legislative, we have city council. Budgeting, accounting, those are our Gina and a few other departments. So again, I tried to leave it high level so you could see actual, and then the budget literally is divided by 12. I know it's not perfect, but at least gives you an idea. So far right hand side is a full year budget, and then as you go in the center, current month, year to date, actual, over, under. If it's a positive number, we're over budget. If it's a negative number, we've gone under budget. And again, if you go scroll down, Amanda, you can go all the way through these projects, keep on going, and you can see, keep on trucking. Down at the bottom, voila, it shows what was our total expenditures out the door and what was our budget. So don't get excited because we were $1.5 million favorable this month, because there's a lot of things that move. And of course, on mine, I have lots of notes to go find out from Gina, who's out this week, so she's gonna love hearing all my 50,000 questions. Okay, so the next page is just then February. So we have February, current month, year to date. So you can see year to date through February, we had a budget of 5.3 million. We're $2.5 million favorable. But again, that doesn't mean it's really there, because we have like $500,000 of insurance and things we need to pay. But I'm digging into those one-time items so I can create a true month-to-month budget so that our community knows exactly where our money is going. Any questions on expenditures before then I go into revenues? JJ.
Is there a way we can have graphs? It makes it a lot easier to look at a graph and say, hey.
So, we can look at that in our new software implementation. When we hire our deputy clerk treasurer, that is one of their responsibilities, is going to be to implement this new software program. I will be happy to create some graphs here for you, JJ. You're ecstatic, are you? Yeah, I will.
A lot easier to look at a graph and say, oh, wow.
Yep, I will. I'll put some thought into it and figure out how to do that, kind of a deal. Okay. So then we go to go to the next one. You can see those are expenditures. Keep on trucking. Revenues. Again, dollar for dollar. If we collect $1, we have $1 to spend. Well, I should say if we spend $1, we got to make sure that we have $1 to come in. We should not be running this place as a deficit. So, where are we getting all of our revenues from? So, top is our taxes. You got, property taxes, sales tax. I lumped that together. Public utility tax. Those are things like on our cell phones, gambling taxes, excise tax, and then you have license permits. All the way goes down, and you can see our total general revenues. 593,000 versus a budget of 641. So over budget, under budget, we under collected about $47,000. Again, some of these things are annual payments, so I have to work through and massage that piece there, kind of a deal. And so then if you keep going down, you have the parks, you have the buildings that we have for debt service. Keep on trucking, Amanda. And we have all of these funds, and literally you can see current month, budget, over, under, and so you see, okay, we collected 1.6 million in revenues versus just dividing by 12 for 2.6 million. If you go all the way down to year to date, we have $3.1 million of year to date revenue versus a budget of 5.2. At the end of the day, we're trying to get to $33 million of revenues, and we're trying to be under $33 million of expense. This here will help, I think, understand pros and cons of where we're at. Any questions, comments from council? I would open it up to the public as well, because this is something that I just threw up there, kind of a deal. Like I said, this will be monthly going forward. I don't think that we need to spend time going through it all, but it'll be one of those things that is transparency and people can see it, where they can come and say, what is this? And I might not be able to answer that right off the bat, but I'll be like, hey, let me go back and get you an answer. Sir.
Yes, Aaron Brown is my name. On page 1, where 2022's general fund was something like 5.4 million, as balance in 23's, the general fund balance was 2.2. Is that 5.4 or 3.4?
That was 5.4.
So I was curious. I'm sure it's a very good reason. As we scrolled through the numbers, I saw maybe half of the delta. So what's the nature of the delta between the two there?
Yeah, so now you're getting into things where my ski tips have just gone whoop, because again, I was putting 2022 on there and 2023 for historical, not just current. To be honest with you, I have not gone back and said, hey, what did we spend our money on in 2022 versus 2023? So Aaron, I really don't know the answer, but you are right. It is 5.4 million, and it went down to 2.2 million. So I'd be happy to look into it if you need me to, but so there are no errors on that spreadsheet right now. Just kidding, but any other questions or comments? Again, feel free to email me, call me. It's dialogue. This truly is, I mean this when I say this to everyone here, everyone online. This is your checkbook. There should be nothing where you question and go, how do I get that? Okay? All right, that was my mayor's message. I apologize for it going a little bit longer tonight, but I thought it was something that needed to be shared. Next item is the consent items. Approve the minutes from last week's, 2 weeks ago, regular city council meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Nothing to say.
Amanda, you want to take?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving into action items. Action item C, Clerk-Treasurer vouchers.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Comment, Carol? Any?
No comment. She's just moving things around and trying to finalize the year-end stuff, so.
Same thing here.
Okay. Any other comment about it? Amanda?
Councilmember Freimark,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Okay, action item D, ordinance number 1556, updating the Woodland Municipal Code Chapter 13.28.010, backflow and cross connections. This is our first reading. That was erroneously left off of there. And I do have on the line Todd Douglas, who is from the water plant and can answer questions. And I'm going to open it up. Todd, do you want to just touch on a couple things here for us before we?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Hi, sir.
So basically, the cross-connection program, just a little background, it protects the city's water supply in case there's any kind of back siphonage or a pressure loss on our side of the water, and it basically protects the city's water system. So I've been here since about 2022, and I run the water plant, but I also oversee the cross-connection program. And a lot of these changes are just going to help the city be compliant or more compliant with the state's requirements for managing our cross connection program. So I can get into all the details there if you have any questions, or I can briefly go over them.
Does anyone have any questions on it, or do you want? Todd, I don't think anyone has any comments on here. I mean, my biggest thing is, I guess I would point out here in my conversations with Todd and the others is, it's really about commercial and industrial having backflow to protect the city water and the ability for non-compliance for us to, fine, require annual testing and correctly turn off the water. This is all about protecting our citizens and the water should there be contamination and making sure it doesn't backflow in. So that's truly what this is driving. So with that, any questions or comments? Go ahead, Douglas.
Todd, this is Doug Freimark. I came out and saw you at the plant, and there is a requirement there for new installations of the double check valve assembly being required to be installed. I'll ask you a question on that in a second, but generally, do you have any qualms whatsoever, any of the changes that are in the documentation, anything at all? Would we have your full support on it?
Mr. Douglas, Todd, that was you, not Todd Deinhardt.
I'm talking.
Could you, I could barely hear, could
He
you
was
repeat
asking, do we have full support from you? Is there anything that causes concern or that you would like changed from the red line that's here? Or do you fully support the changes?
No, I think that these are going to be really helpful changes, especially moving forward with our commercial development. A lot of this is going to help us be more proactive rather than somebody having to come back and install a device after it's been built. This kind of gives them the requirement to build it up front, and then they won't have to come back and do it. And I just want to say to the council, a few of you have come up to the water plant, and you guys have been very supportive of the needs of the water plant, and we're moving in a good direction forward.
Yeah, Todd, this is Doug Freimark again. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. As long as we have your full support on the changes on it. I was out there and talked to you, and you impressed me as far as your ability to understand and run the plant. So you have my support on it. I did have a question on the double check valve assemblies, the new ones, on all new installations. You have any thoughts on installations that do not have that now to acquire that new protection?
The city has a pretty good program in place already. We're working through a lot of the businesses that may not have had one installed. And as we work through that, we'll identify a few businesses, but I would say we're 90% to 95% of where we need to be. And these ordinances are just going to help us better ensure that we get 100% compliance with our customers. And it's not really there to hurt anyone. It's just to, give them incentive to help us stay compliant so that we meet our requirements.
Thank you, Todd.
With that, any other questions, comments from anyone in the audience or council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Carol?
And no more comment. I think we got enough information on it.
I agree.
Perfect. Okay, Amanda?
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark.
Aye.
Perfect. The ayes have it. Moving into action item E, authorize the purchase of a new police patrol vehicle.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comment or anything that anyone needs?
Is this a replacement vehicle for the new person that we're hiring?
So, Chief, you want to answer or you want me to? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
So,
You want to answer? You're more than welcome to have at it.
Chief, these same questions before it comes forward. That's why I'm like, Chief, what are we doing here? So, we want to make sure we always have a replacement vehicle here.
Correct.
And so we have an officer in the academy currently, and we are also hiring a position. And so those two would take the two vehicles we have, so then this would give us a spare car, so to speak.
Okay.
But then we would deploy this to one of our officers.
So when the other cop left, don't we have that car as a spare?
What other cop left?
Well, you had one left, right?
The lieutenant?
Yeah. Okay, don't you have the car?
We do have a car, but it's not patrol ready. It's not street ready. It's not a black and white. It's an unmarked vehicle. And that would be saved for the lieutenant position when that position is filled.
Okay.
And then the sergeants would get, the white cars. We have white cars that are sergeants' cars. But I'll give you a little background. So this is kind of an unusual situation. During my budget prep time in the summer, early fall, we found out that Ford wasn't going to manufacture any vehicles anymore. Normally, I would put one vehicle into the budget for the upcoming year. We received word recently, and they're offering 24 and 25 vehicles, 2024, 2025 vehicles as for purchase. Our purchase wouldn't arrive probably until August. So I'm kind of getting ahead of it now. Right now, we don't have any spare vehicles if we were going to hire additional individuals. So we have the two that are earmarked for the 2 vacant positions, if we count our student officer going through the academy right now, he would get 1. The other vehicle would be the spare, but when we hire that additional officer that council authorized, that would give us 0 vehicles as spares. So
So is the lieutenant car a patrol ready, or is it a white vehicle?
it's actually it's a silver vehicle. It is patrol ready, but it's an unmarked vehicle.
Okay. 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 I'm happy.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any other comments before we take?
Chief?
Yes, sir.
The police fleet in general, in your opinion, is it up to speed with the addition of this new vehicle? Is it everything that you need?
It will be, yes. Absolutely. If council authorizes this purchase, we'll be good to go for a year, and then I'll put it in my budget normally that I would. I'll put it in my budget, 1 vehicle for next year as well.
Very good.
So that we can have that rotation.
So Ford doesn't have cars to give us? We don't use Chevys?
No, well, I guess I could fill in the background information on that. We looked at other vehicles. Dodge offers a Charger, but I think that's too much vehicle for this city. And in the long run, having one manufacturer as part of our fleet, it's easier for parts. And with our vehicles, with the officers authorized to take vehicles home, I think they take care of them a little bit better. And so with a one manufacturer fleet, it gives us a little bit more freedom to purchase parts ahead of time, because all the vehicles use that same part eventually.
I figured the other one that we have less of, they'll be wanting to get us to buy them all from them.
Well, they want of course, everybody wants a cool car, right? But I think our Explorers are pretty cool, so, and I fit in them, most of them, so.
Anything else?
No,
Amanda?
Councilmember Freimark,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
With it, ayes have it. Moving to action item F, authorize the mayor to enter into a 90-day contract for legal services. Before we get into this, I'll have a little bit of discussion.
Good.
Frank's contract expires March 31st. Last year, when I was in the audience, I heard the conversation that you all were talking about doing a new RFQ, finding out services and things. And so I went back to Frank and I said, hey, Frank, my recommendation is you provide us with a 90-day contract. That will give us time to do an RFQ. So if you see also on here, it goes requesting for us to go out for an RFQ. That was me listening and doing what I thought council wanted to do regarding our legal services. So that's why those 2 pieces are on here. Not saying that Frank is good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just going through with what council was pushing for last year and continuing on this year, being respectful of that. Okay?
Okay.
Make a motion to approve action item F.
Second?
Any comments or discussion about that?
No, you explained it all.
Amanda?
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark, Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Moving into action item G, ordinance number 1551, budget amendment, 4th quarter 2023, first and final reading.
Make a motion to approve action item G.
Second.
Any comments, concerns with this?
Like I said earlier, this is Gina just getting everything into line and finishing out year-end stuff, so.
Yep.
Ditto.
With that, Amanda?
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark, Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving to action item H, authorize the mayor and staff to post an RFQ for city legal services.
Make a motion to approve action item H.
Second.
Any
Once again, you explained that, so.
Are you trying to tell me I don't need to
No,
explain anything?
no, I'm just saying.
Oh, Carol. With that, any other comments or concerns about it?
Well, can I ask a
Fire
question?
away. Yep.
So, is Frank, are you interested in doing it longer if it comes out? Okay, I just was curious is where you stood on this. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Frank offered a 2-year contract.
Okay, I just
But
wanted to know
again, I
where
was
that
trying to
was.
be
Yes,
respectful of
absolutely.
council.
I just wanted to know where he was on this all
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
Yep, just trying to be helpful or respectful with you all. So, Amanda?
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Freimark.
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The time is now 7:56, and we will go into our workshop on commercial property assessed clean energy and resilience.
5 minutes.
Princesses, feel free to leave. We won't make you sit.
Oh.
Get your tickets before they leave if you haven't already got your tickets. Oh, I didn't think about it.
Let's see who matches my $100.
Travis?
Okay, so this is tying back to an extremely popular topic of conversation for the city, and that is climate change and climate resilience. We adopted a plan at the end of last year, an addendum to the comprehensive plan, and we have a developer in the city who is working on a project, and he approached me saying, good, I'm glad that you adopted that, because there is a tool that is available, and it's called the C-PACER program, and Clark County has a program that's currently adopted, and it's referenced in the staff report and includes links to the Clark County page. And essentially what he said is because of the program set up under Washington state law, it allows lenders to rely on the city to apply building codes and energy codes that are of such a high standard that it lowers their risk in lending money to builders. And this developer is essentially interested in buying high energy efficient infrastructure for his buildings. And by the city adopting this program, it's the city's commitment to ensure that these buildings are meeting building code and inspected to the building code. And it allows the lender to incur less risk when they build these buildings. So I don't know if you have any particular questions, but it is essentially driven by a developer who's interested in building a facility that is highly efficient and energy efficient for the operation of the life of that building. And the city does not incur any additional regulations. There will be some additional cost, but we can recoup that through an application fee. So what it requires is that we request additional information that proves that they're meeting these high energy standards, and that our building official would essentially review them and make sure that they do meet the energy efficiency standard, and that cost would be reimbursed to the city by the application fee. In return, so for example, if we were to charge $2,500 to pay for our expenses in doing that, they in return might get a lower, significantly lower percentage on $1 million building or something like that. So there is incentive for the developer to pay us to spend our time to make sure that we're holding them to high standards, and the builders get that lower rate from the lenders. So I also know that in addition to Clark County having this, I know that the same developer is also talking to Cowlitz County about also adopting a similar program. So I don't know whether the commissioner who's here tonight has caught wind of that, but the developer who asked me said he has been talking to the Cowlitz County about that as well. So I recommend that we consider this, and as far as I can tell, we can simply take the Clark County code and I will modify it, review it, just make sure it's consistent with the city's code and the cross-references. But essentially the model is there for us to follow, and it won't take a lot of work for us to adopt this program. Any questions?
We'll have to talk to you about it, and it's not going to cost us nothing. It's going to help the businesses come in because they're going to save money by following the instructions. I don't see a problem. Beneficial to the city.
Two questions. First one should be easy.
Don't cover your mouth.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Do you see any downsides whatsoever on this entire, in particular, the CPACER guideline?
Well, I joke that it is consistent with climate code, which is not particularly popular, but as we discussed at that time, there are benefits to knuckling under to what the state wants, because there are tools that they are adding to the tool chest in return for doing that. So although we have not fully gotten buy-off from the Department of Commerce for the work that we did, I'm taking their fact that they haven't come down on us with both feet to be a tacit acceptance that the city of Woodland is taking positive steps to protect our community and be more resilient. And if we can start adopting the tools that they offer, we would be crazy not to, because that's the exact reason why the previous council had taken that step of recognizing that we want to be more resilient. So it is a good idea.
You're not worried in any capacity that we won't be overcommitted budget-wise to any significance in the future?
It'll take us a while to get efficient, but for a developer who's interested in saving money in the long run, it's good service to the community for us to help investors realize those savings. So it is a worthy investment of the city's time, staff's time, in my opinion.
Last question. Have we identified the capital provider yet?
I have not. And as a matter of fact, we don't have to. It's whoever they're working with as a commercial loan. And so it's not restricted to any single provider. It's any provider who values this service and the high efficiency loan. So any provider theoretically could ask for it.
Very good.
Terry?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions on it. It appears, now I may be misreading this, but it appears to me that it creates an uneven playing field for the different builders and different businesses, and it rewards electricity driven businesses and penalizes natural gas businesses, in the sense that this is not available to them. So to me, that's an unlevel playing field. It seems unfair, first of all. So that's an apprehension. And then it doesn't seem like it's why. It seems like it's rewarding the wrong type of activity. Because if anybody that uses natural gas knows that it's less expensive and it's more efficient. So to penalize that in a sense by offering a program for just electrical businesses, to me I'm not comfortable with that. I don't feel very good about that.
I don't either.
Okay. Thoughts on that?
those are valid arguments, and I would argue that the individual developer will make that decision. It is not, it's market driven, not regulatory driven. I believe having an extra tool for anybody who chooses to self-select themselves, that's an investment issue, that's not a regulatory issue.
But it is creating a tool that's only available to one side. To me, that just doesn't sound like something we'd want in Woodland, that creates an uneven playing field. I'm real apprehensive about it. I just don't feel good about that. Anybody? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way.
No, I feel the same way.
Terry, what particular section is that you were worried about?
I can't hear you, Doug.
What particular section are you referring to?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me. I
remember
read it
reading that.
last week.
I think I read it just a little bit different, but if you're right, then I share that concern.
Yeah, there's a move, and it's not just here, it's nationwide, I suppose, but it's particularly heavy in the state of Washington, and that's where this comes from. There's a move afoot to try to squelch the natural gas business, and I just think that's the wrong direction to go. It's not logical, and it's not wise, and it's not fair, and it's not cost effective. The people that use that business, the business itself is penalized if it can't have natural gas, and the citizens are penalized if those costs for natural gas go up because of this type of activity. You see what I'm saying? It's nebulous in a sense, but the whole thing makes me really uneasy. I don't like it. So,
Can we find out what Cowlitz commissioners think about it?
We gave authority to draft the document, but we haven't seen the document yet or approved the document.
So it's still a work in progress. Okay.
And that's what this is too, right? Work in
Yeah,
progress.
this is the workshop again.
well, I'll tell you what I've done. I have asked our legislators who worked on the billing, or the bill that was behind this originally, and I haven't got a response back. But when I get it, that will help us with the discussion. But I think they share my view.
I think they do too.
And I believe the developer who asked for this program is going to be here at the next meeting if I'm given authorization to draft an ordinance. So he might be able to give you his opinion and how the market is dealing with that. He should be at the next meeting.
What about just continuing the workshop at that time instead of going to the work of an ordinance? Maybe it might be premature if we're, depending on what input we get.
I think that's a good idea.
I would agree.
Okay. Any other discussion? We will bring this back to our April 1st meeting as another workshop. Hopefully he'll be in attendance, and hopefully we'll have more information around Cowlitz Park and all that. Any other discussion around this item? Okay. Continuing on the workshop, workshop item J, Metropolitan Planning Area Boundary Expansion for Transportation Planning. Bill is here from CWCOG. Come on up, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thanks for the opportunity to be here today. Probably none of you are real well versed on what a metropolitan planning area is, or metropolitan planning organization, so I'll give you some background. And bear with me, it's more than you probably want, but I think it's probably appropriate to give you that background to make sure we're all kind of going down the same road together, hopefully. A metropolitan planning organization, and I'll try not to fall into acronyms, but that's an MPO, so I may call it an MPO in a little bit, but I'll try not to. Basically, the Metropolitan Planning Organization is the policy board of an organization tasked to carry out the metropolitan transportation planning process as designated by the federal government, by the Federal Highway Administration. MPOs are required to represent localities in all urbanized areas with populations of 50,000 as determined by the U.S. Census. So the city of Longview in 1980, metro area reached the 50,000 mark, and the MPO was created for within Cowlitz County for the Longview urban area. The MPO is Metropolitan Planning Organization is required to review its boundary every 10 years after the census, and that's the process we're going through right now. And we're required to submit a new recommended boundary to our board, and then it's endorsed or not endorsed. Hopefully it's always endorsed by the state governor. We are a bi-state metropolitan planning organization, so we include Rainier, Oregon in part of the urban area today. So we also get the fun time of going down to Oregon and getting the Oregon governor to sign off on the boundary as well. In the 2020 census, the city of Castle Rock actually grew between Lexington, Longview, Kelso, and Castle Rock. There's enough density there that technically, according to census rules, Castle Rock is now part of the Longview, Kelso, Rainier urban area. So now we have the Longview, Kelso, Castle Rock, Rainier urban area, and we're just going to call it the Longview urban area for now on. But so Castle Rock will be coming into the metropolitan planning area, whether they want to or not. They will be falling into it. The COG Executive Committee and the COG Board of Directors, and COG is Council of Governments, sorry about that, have talked about this a couple different times, a few different times, and the recommendation of the board was that I come to all the various agencies that are impacted and provide information, get input to help the COG board decide whether we want to, what the new boundary of the metropolitan planning area would be. And I got off my line, so I'm trying to get back in place. But the COG also acts as a regional transportation planning organization. So in addition to the Longview urban area, we also do limited transportation planning for all of Cowlitz County, all of Wahkiakum County, all of Pacific, Grays Harbor, and Lewis County. So pretty much all of Southwest Washington. Our capacity with the regional transportation planning organization is fairly minimal. Covering that big of an area with very little money, we do not provide probably as much service as I would like to. Thus, Woodland being outside of the metropolitan planning area doesn't get as much time as I would like it to get in transportation planning, although I find a way to spend lots of time down here anyway, I think. And that's partially attributable to your membership in the Council of Governments in general. So MPO funding is more robust than the Regional Transportation Planning Organization budget, so we're able to be a little more active, a little more proactive in things in the Longview metro area. We work very closely with River Cities Transit. The federal legislation requires us to work with transit agencies and a variety of other partners in our long-term planning work that we do. We are looking, as I said, at an expansion to a countywide metropolitan planning area. This would increase our overall funding by a whopping $44,000 a year. And as a taxpayer, I know that's a lot of money, so I don't want to trivialize it. But it's not enough that it's going to make or break the organization. We can't hire a full new staff person. We're not going to dramatically grow, but it will give us a little more capacity to do a few things. New parties, if we expand the metropolitan planning area or organization countywide, it would include the city and Port of Klamath, the city and Port of Woodland, the city of Castle Rock, which I already mentioned is already coming into the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the city of Kelso, city of Longview, city of Rainier, Cowlitz County, and the Port of Longview are already members. And each of those organizations has been and currently pays a portion of the federal match dollars. 25% of the funds that we get in are matched by local partners. So if we get into this and Woodland becomes a partner, and City and Port of Woodland, then we would be working with you on matching a portion of the new money that comes in. And I'll get into that in a little bit more in a little bit. The funds would be used to support the COG's core transportation program, and we would use it to carry out the required federal and state functions, such as programming out federal funds for local transportation projects. That's the Surface Transportation Block Grant fund distribution that the COG Board of Directors does every couple years, more or less. We provide support to local jurisdictions. We manage the metropolitan and regional transportation plan, so that's a long range. Our most recent one is a 2050 plan, so we're looking out multiple decades trying to lay a foundation today for what transportation needs are going to be in 10 or 20 years, which is real fun trying to figure that out some days, but that is part of the role. Maintaining and updating the Regional Transportation Improvement Program, and basically that is all of the projects in the 5-county region and the metropolitan area that receive federal funding. The COG serves as a gatekeeper, if you will, to some degree, of all of the federal funds that come into the region for transportation. They all go through our COG board in some form. We do an annual Regional Transportation Improvement Program that COG board approves. And then throughout the year, we do amendments as projects change, grow, new money comes in. So it's kind of the check and balance on where those federal dollars go. And making sure that they're consistent with the regional transportation plan. The Metropolitan Planning Organization is eligible for some funding opportunities that might not be available to cities and counties or ports. But the primary benefit of the expansion is to provide additional planning resources and capacity to member agencies. The countywide MPO could open the door for additional work like the technical memo for the Woodland vicinity arterial study that looked at a parallel I-5 route south across the Lewis River from the Woodland bottoms. I don't know how many of you remember that report is even out there, but a couple years ago we dug out a few extra bucks, and Port of Woodland, I think, actually helped fund that. To look at some way to relieve the traffic on exit 21 as the bottoms continues to grow, from my trying to look at that long-term outlook of what's going on. If there isn't some kind of alternative relief out of the bottoms somewhere down the road, you're not going to be, the county, the city isn't going to be able to develop in the bottoms just because you're going to have stalemate on traffic between exit 21 and exit 22. So we need some alternative way in and out of town. The county, or the COG, is currently working with the county and 6 cities, including Rainier, on a comprehensive safety action plan that will provide the city with the tools to apply for state and federal funds to support safety projects in the community. This was a program that basically the MPO was eligible for, and so we're doing it, and there was a loophole in the rules that allowed us to do it outside of the MPO. So we took advantage of that and are doing the safety plans in conjunction with the cities and the county for the entire region. And without this, it's kind of what Travis was talking about before. The feds have said if you want to get traffic money or traffic safety money out of us, you have to do this plan. But here, we'll give you the money to do the safety plan so that then you can ask for safety dollars to help with your safety improvements. So hopefully at the end of that process, there will be 3 or 4 projects that are fairly well laid out that will work with Public Works and others to align. But we'll have a pretty good idea of 3 or 4 projects that the city might be able to go after, federal, state, other monies in the coming years to improve safety. We're also kicking off a transit study for Woodland, Kalama, Castle Rock, and Rainier, trying to figure out if there's a way we can work with river cities and other partners, Lower Columbia CAP, the tribe, whoever it might be, to provide additional transit service for area residents that are not able to drive either because they're elderly or disabled or whatever it might be, to help them get to locations within Woodland and or locations in Vancouver, Longview, wherever, for medical service or other things. The MPA expansion, the Metropolitan Planning Area expansion, would simplify public policy in transportation planning, from my perspective, that's more of a benefit to us maybe than to you guys. But it would sure make it easier for me to justify spending more time here and in Castle Rock and Woodland or Kalama over the next years, coming years. When we consider the boundary for the Metropolitan Planning Organization, there are a couple elements we need to, at the very least, it needs to include the census designated Longview urban area. So that is what basically where we've been for the last few years. The legislation goes on to say you should also, or you can also consider and include those areas likely to be urbanized within the next 20 years. And the third option is that we can just go with a county-wide metropolitan planning area. If you think about the second opportunity that, we should think about those agencies, organizations that are likely to become urbanized over the next 20 years. If you think about Castle Rock is already urbanized enough to be part of Longview. Truthfully, staff in our early analysis, trying to understand the little black box that the Census Bureau works in sometimes, our analysis showed that actually Kalama would have been included in 2020 versus Castle Rock. So and Castle Rock just barely was out. So we were off a little bit, but I'm pretty sure by the next census, Kalama is going to be part of the metropolitan area, whether they want to or not. And I'm guessing Woodland may be a little bit longer, just because of the area in between and the challenge. But the Census Bureau will use the area up over Green Mountain, and that is fairly densely developed. And I'm guessing if it's not in, if it's not in 2030, it'll be 2040 that Woodland will be part of the Longview urban area. So it's, if we don't do it this go around, in 10 years from now, I'm pretty sure we're going to be adding Woodland to the Metropolitan Planning Organization. That's a decision you guys can put off if you want, or if you're interested, I'd be glad to come back and there is a draft resolution that the mayor has that you all could consider if you're interested in going ahead and joining and becoming part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization process. You already serve on the COG board, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, so you're already making decisions on behalf of the Longview urban area, as is Wahkiakum County members of our board. So it wouldn't be new responsibilities for anyone on council. It would be, and I didn't mention, but it would be about $3,000 a year given current funding levels that we would ask the city to share and match. That match would begin probably, the money would not start coming to us until July 2025. So the first match invoice would probably be that next quarter, the third quarter of 2025. So somewhere between July, August, September in that period of 2025. So this isn't a budget item for this year. It would be a budget item in consideration for next year, and it would set you back about $3,000 a year if you decide to move forward with, and I wish I could have that low of a number when I go talk to the county commission, but theirs will be a little bit more if we go countywide. So, and it's basically based on population. So I think I got off script once or twice, but hopefully that helped to give you some insight and understanding of the overall planning process, and I can get into a lot more detail, but I won't unless someone really pushes. So, Mr. Mayor, back to you.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of cities that will be members of the MPO, whether they wanted to or not.
Yes, sir.
Curious statement. What legitimate, if any, reasons would they have for not wanting to join?
They really don't. The only question I've gotten from Castle Rock is, where are we going to get the $2,800 to do this? And I'm going, well, I think you can find it. But that's been really the only concern. The only other concern, I guess, that I've heard is there are some complexities in if you're a small rural area, you're eligible for a pot of funds over here. Castle Rock will now be part of the Longview urban area and will be eligible, not eligible for those rural dollars anymore, but they'll be eligible for this pot of urban dollars. But with their 3,000 people population shift will actually bring a few dollars over to the urban area funding with it. So after I think we walked through most of those issues, I think they were like, okay, we're good. But there really are minimal negatives to it from my perspective. We are one of two metropolitan planning organizations in the state of Washington that isn't countywide. They're the two smallest are the ones that are not countywide today, us and Walla Walla. But all of the other major cities in Washington all have countywide. Puget Sound Regional Council, Seattle area actually has a 4-county, 3.5 county. Part of Kitsap isn't in it, but 3.5 county wide metropolitan planning organization. So this is not unusual. This is fairly common across the country and in Washington.
Thank you.
See, let's just join us since we're part of Clark County and College County. We'll just give College County the bill.
My question is, what's going to give us the best opportunity for Exit 21 funding?
Right.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah, and truthfully, if 20 years from now, if you weren't to come into the Longview Metropolitan Planning Organization at some point, 20 years from now, you may be facing pressures from the Clark County side that would require you to become part of the Portland, Vancouver urban area. And in fact, all of Cowlitz County 30 years from now may also be part of that larger metro area. And I'm glad I'll be retired by then, because there will be, whenever you have multiple metropolitan planning organizations within one urban area, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
So Matt, my counterpart down in Clark County, is dealing with Portland, and I'm glad it's him and not me.
So he just skirted the question. You notice that all? So, any other questions or comments for Bill?
Well, I think it's a good opportunity to look into it.
Okay, I do have the ordinance. I will give it to Amanda and team and get that for the next agenda.
Resolution versus ordinance.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
That's
Resolution,
okay.
My bad. And I'll bring you.
Sounds
back.
great. I'm happy to come back and answer questions when you're considering the resolution.
Yep. Agreed.
Perfect.
Thank you much. Appreciate your time.
All right. With that, it is 8:27, and we will leave the workshop.
Motion to end meeting.
Second.
It is 8:27, and the meeting is now adjourned.